Hello, my nerdy Nawg-Dawgs. This is the second week of our writer's workshop and day 3, and we've been talking about setting the scene. One way, and so we've been talking about using all sorts of details to set the scene. And today, what we are going to continue with, let's see if I can get my screen to share, is writers create a picture for their reader by setting the scene. We've talked about this a little bit, and we've said that they can do this by adding sensory details. So today's focus in terms of setting the scene to help paint the picture is sensory details. What are sensory details, you ask? Come on, friends, our 5 senses, right? We have vision, our hearing, what we touch or feel, what we taste, definitely what we smell. By adding these sensory ideas, it helps bring the reader in. Then they can also kind of visualize what's going on. So one really high-level tool that writers use to set the scene is they'll include sensory details, because we all can envision what that might smell like, right? So I did use a little author. This is one of my favorite authors, and she does such a great job of sensory writing. And this is Sonia Manzano is the author, and it's The Revolution of Evelyn Serrano. And I love how she starts this chapter. Bang! The heat of the sun smacked my face the second I stepped out onto the street. I untucked my shirt and rolled up my skirt at least an inch. The daily sweats were about to begin, but the heat wasn't as bad as what hit my senses next. The El Barrio fart smell of garbage. With the hot sun beating down, food rotted even faster. The smells of spoiled fish, melons, and beans blended together into one big funky mess that stunk like everybody had decided to cut loose some gas at the same time. Wow! Does that author paint a picture? Oh, yes, she does. We actually went on to talk about if you've ever visited New York. It's so interesting coming from the West Coast, right, where we are newer communities. So in New York, if you're downtown at Times Square, any of the restaurants around there, they all kind of pile their trash bags up on the front street, because many of them don't have alleyways to keep big trash bins. So all those trash bags get piled up right at the entrance to their establishment. In the summertime, you better believe you can smell those smells. You better believe you see those trash bags piled up. You better believe you feel the heat reflecting off of the blacktop. Okay, so these are like sensory details that add so much to your writing. So writers will use sensory to bring us in. And as we read and continue on, it really adds so much detail. So today's lesson is, what does your character see? Describe what the character hears. What can you touch? Now, if you were writing as a narrator, you want to describe, what do you touch? What might the character feel? What smells are there? And what might they taste? Believe me, it adds so much. So think about your writing right now, and you might need to pause the tape so you can answer those questions. Go. I'll wait. Still here. Okay, in my grouping, they were all assigned different scenery or different places to set their story. And my surf group was in a spooky forest. Oh, spooky, spooky. So how would you set the scene? If you were having your character go through here, maybe The fog was like a wet blanket. Ooh, similes always work too. Was as if it were a wet blanket around me. I couldn't see further than my outstretched hand. I heard a crack of branches, and it set my senses alert. Suddenly, I could smell what could only be described as rotting eggs. And next thing you know, I was covered. I walked into a great big spider web. It was all over me as I rushed to brush it off. Okay? If you can go through your senses and describe what you're seeing, what you hear, what you feel, what you might smell, maybe what you taste. The fog was so wet I could taste it on my lips. Creepy. So, good writers set the scene by adding sensory detail. It adds so much to our writing. Try it out, my friends. Good luck.